Okay, so we're on to day 2 of this insulation project. So in the last video I got all of the insulation boards up in here, the nursery, in the landing out there, and in the bathroom. So that's all done. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to trim all of the foam that's around the edges of the board, so that obviously the plasterboards can sit flush. They're not obviously going to hit that. And then I'm going to get the plasterboards installed, again using the expanding foam, but I'm also going to put a few long plasterboard screws through the plasterboard, through the insulation, and obviously into the ceiling above. So yeah, let's get cracking and getting all of these plasterboards up. I'm just going to put the boards up, I think, in this video. In the next one I'm going to tape and fill everything so that it's all ready for painting. So let's get cracking. So we're downstairs in the living room now, you know, the standard place where everyone keeps all their sheet materials. We've got these 3 pieces of plywood. They're going to be used for the feature wall. And I've got a set of drawers just behind the camera there that I'm going to refurb, and I'm going to put a plywood front on them. Behind this we've got the plasterboard. Now I've used cut list optimizer, and what you basically do is you put the amount of plasterboard you've got in, and then I've measured up all the cuts I need to do for all the pieces, and then I've inputted them into the list on the laptop. So that then shows you a diagram. Like you can see, I've put the 2 plasterboards and then all the cuts that we've done. I've already cut one of them, so this is the 2 that are left, and then it shows you a diagram of all your cuts to make. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'll move these bits of plywood out the way, and then I'll get these plasterboards cut and taken upstairs. Annoyingly, you can't get a full board quite up the stairs, or it's quite hard, because obviously it's going to make a little bit of a mess on the carpet in here, but I'll vac that straight up, and we're also about to carpet clean all of the carpets in the house anyway, so they'll be getting a proper clean. So I'll cut that. One of the sheets is a full length by 117, so that's close to being a full board, but I think I can just about manoeuvre it upstairs. If I can't, I'll have to do like I did with the insulation board, where I've chopped it in half and I'll have to put it in 2 pieces and do an extra join. Obviously not ideal because they're square edges, so I'll have to tape them and taper it all out, or I'll have to plaster it, we'll see. Hopefully we'll get it up the stairs, but if not, we'll just do that and we'll just deal with it. So I'll get these cut and then we'll get cracking installing the boards upstairs. Right, so this piece is cut already from cutting off the piece that is on the landing. So that is the other half of that, and it pretty much is the exact same size. I think it's like 10mm short, so we'll either just tape and fill that, or we'll put a little slither in. Then this piece is going to be the full length board, so I need to take, I think, 30mm off that one. Let's check on the laptop. Yeah, so that's going to get 30mm taken off of this edge, and hopefully that'll mean it can just about squeeze upstairs, but we'll see. Like I said, if I need to chop it in half, it's not the end of the world. Then this sheet is going to have a full width 65mm piece taken off, and then a 90.5 piece taken off, which will be trimmed down to 115 on the width, and then there's just one more piece which is 72 by 42, and that'll leave a decent amount left to cut out those pieces to go along the beam on that thin little strip in the bathroom. So rather than using one full piece along there, I'm just going to cut those out with the little offcuts, because if I'd have done the full strip I would have needed one more plasterboard, so there's no point in doing that. So for anyone who doesn't know, to cut plasterboard, dead easy. All you do is get your measurements. So this one's 65. Then just with your knife, just make a little nick in there. board there at 65. Do the same at the bottom. Then you just get a straight edge. Line your 2 marks up. And then all you do is get a Stanley knife and run that down your straight edge. Which cuts the paper. And then dead easy, all you do is, so you cut on the front face, you then just crack the board and then where it folds, just run your knife down. On the back of the paper, and that's your cut done. So I'll crack on, get the rest of these cut, and then we'll go upstairs and we'll start getting them in place. Marked up the hole for the light wiring to come out of. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but I've just put this board up into place. And basically this first board that went up, because this is a Victorian house that is well over 100 years old, nothing in this house is square. So when I put this board up, it sort of got jammed in there, as you can see with the plaster roll down here. And then by the time it was up, it was too late to straighten it out. So this board is slightly crooked, which has meant this end of the board is further this way. So the board fits perfectly here, this second board, but it doesn't fit at this end. Now, there's two options. I can either measure and mark this board to cut, but I think that will be a little bit awkward. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut this with the multi-tool, just taking the plasterboard off and then that board will fit up perfectly flush to it, and then I can obviously tape and fill that joint. Not obviously ideal, but it's one of them things. It happens when you're doing jobs like this. You just have to roll with the punches and get on with it. Just wear a mask for this, don't do the hold your breath technique. I'm just going to lift this into place again, and hopefully this time it'll fit. Perfect. So what I'm going to, plaster in my eyes. What I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to foam it whilst it's up there. I'm just going to get the ladders, foam it whilst it's there, so that I can then lift it into place easier. I'll also just pop the screws in, ready. Expected that just to pull out. Oh, my eyes are killing. So yeah, I'll just pop the screws in ready, so that I can lift it into place, stick it and then screw it so that it holds everything nice and strong into place. I'm going to film this one in full time because it's never as easy as it looks on the time lapse. Like, this was a bit of a disaster, but in the time lapse it looks like I'm just like, and it's in, like, easy as that. So once I film this one, I'll show you in real time. And hopefully we'll not have a disaster, but if we do, you'll get to see it firsthand exactly what it's like. I just need to cut the hole for the extractor vent, and then we'll get this board up. So I've already had to lift it back down because I forgot to trim the foam from around the shower and the tiling. So I had to drop it down and trim that. Thankfully, you've got 5 or so minutes from foaming to sticking, because it needs to tack up. So it wasn't too much of a disaster. Not ideal though, because the shower's all dripped in here now. Oh, so I was about to say, so I'm getting wet feet, but I'm also getting a wet face. Right. Now I'm just going to check the camera's recording, because the way this is currently going, it probably isn't. It is, it's always a good sign. Right. So now just to press this into place, easier said than done. Cable's caught in there. The doorbell's ringing. It's all go. screws pop through. This is already a disaster. Thought this was going to be a nice easy one, but no. Oh, how am man? Seriously. All the screws have fallen out. Doesn't normally go this badly. Dear me. Now I'm chucking them out. Right, I've got one prop in place. One screw in. Whoa. Two screws in. Cable out the way. Three screws in. Such wet feet. Oh, now we're flying. I hate doing ceiling plasterboards on my own. Normally I wouldn't put this many screws in, but the foam's not really doing much now. So it's obviously been so long, so I've basically just screwed this in and wasted the foam, but it is what it is. And we're solid. Told you it wasn't as easy as it looked. Well, it is sometimes, but wow. There wasn't really anything that could have gone worse there, to be honest. But it's what it is. At least I didn't break the shower glass or something. At least I'd have got it on camera. This is the annoying thing with lath and plaster. Sometimes you'll put a screw in, it'll hit no lath, and it'll just hit the plaster. And then the screw will just spin. These boards are lovely and flush, but this end piece is just dipped ever so slightly. That's better, perfect. What I tend to do with plasterboard screws is put them in not far enough so they're not under the surface, because that way I can let the foam dry properly and then I can go back round after and just nip them in so that they're under the surface so they can be filled, because if not they're obviously going to protrude past your filling and you'll see your screws. But yeah, I mean that piece thankfully fits lovely because the tiles are a bit more square than the rest of this room. So the edges of that can just be caulked without any infill pieces put in, and these will have obviously those little infill pieces put in. But I feel like it's time to stop for some lunch now and then start again with a clear head. This was the biggest board to be put up, and after the disaster of that tiny little board above the shower, I was dreading it. But it went up so easily, everything went smoothly, every screw hit a lath, and I used the ladders to prop one end whilst I screwed in the other, and it went up no bother. See if we hit plaster or a lath, hopefully a lath. Oh, that's what we like. Same again, please. Perfect. Put those connections back up into the ceiling. There we go. That's not on properly, but it'll do for now. It's obviously going to come back off when I'm filling and painting anyway. So that's the plasterboards up, all finished. Obviously used the foam for most of them, but some of the smaller pieces that I was obviously using for the little gaps, I just screwed them in just to make things easier. They're obviously nice and easy just to screw in, and obviously they're solid that way too. So next up is obviously going to be taping and filling all of the gaps. So we've got quite a few gaps and the edges and stuff. I'm going to do the same onto these plasterboards. But I'm going to leave this video here and do that one in the next one. So as always, thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.